people are all different. You're not going to change them. They are who they are because of their circumstances. And instead of judging everyone, learn to accept them and to kind of understand that.
One of the most powerful parts of this whole book, in my mind, and in life, is, are you enrolling people in your vision?
Yeah.
In being the king or queen, in getting the ships that you want? Are you stepping up and enrolling people and getting people to say yes to you?
Yeah.
Or your dreams, or hire you, or date you, or marry you?
Yeah.
Or are you not showing up in a way that people want to say yes to you?
Right.
And I feel like
Key question.
my whole business has been built on getting people to say yes. When I had nothing, I was on my sister's couch 10 years ago, no money, no skills, no degree, and it was an energy that I had to learn how to just get people to say yes, and then more, and then building momentum around that. So I'd love to talk about this, becoming a master persuader. And the first thing you talk about is, which I think most people aren't doing, you say, is to deepen your listening and be a better listener. And most people don't have the patience to care about someone else. They're so concerned about what they think about them.
Well, people always talk about being a better listener, and their advice is usually very weak. I mean, it isn't ineffective because, okay, I've become a better listener. Yeah, I'll try that, but it's very hard to overcome certain patterns. So I try to tackle the question of, why is it that you're not a good listener? And at the root of that is, you're more interested in yourself than you are in the other person. You won't deny that. You will say, oh, no, that's not me. That's not me. I really like people. But the truth is, you're more interested in your own thoughts and your own ideas, things that you're so certain about, your own experiences, than about that other person and what they're saying and what's going on inside them. If you can flip that around, if you can actually feel the motivation to get inside Lewis and get inside his head and his experience, then you will suddenly become a better listener. That's the key, not just telling people to listen more. The key is the quality of the listening and the emotion involved. So if I feel I want to get inside that other person, inside their life, then suddenly you will start listening. What will make you interested in other people? Well, first off is the idea you don't know them. Normally, when let's say you're on a first date with someone, or you're just meeting someone, you have assumptions about them. You create a simplified version of who they are, and that's what you think, and that'll stay with you forever. Instead, you want to think, that person is more interesting than I imagine. Their first appearance isn't really who they are. They're like a book that I could read. We love going to movies and getting inside other characters and what motivates them, being taken along for a ride. Think of the people that you meet in life as a character in a movie. You want to know what motivates them. They are more interesting than you think. They've had traumas, they've had problems from their early childhood. They have fantasies. They have a shadow, a dark side to their personality they're not revealing. They're more complicated and interesting than you think. So if you're motivated to understand what makes them tick, their experience, suddenly you will start listening.
Yeah.
So that's the key to me. And it's not easy.
Why is it so hard for people? Because for me, it's been an easy thing, because I've used my insecurity of not feeling like I was smart enough growing up, because I was one of the poorest students in school.
Yeah.
So I was like, my voice doesn't matter as much. Let me just ask smart people what they think.
Right.
And it became a huge advantage for me.
Right.
Because I've learned that being the most interested person in the room, you become the most interesting.
Well, the key is really so much in the book is, are you motivated to change yourself? Do you want to become successful in life? This book is trying to realign your priorities and how you look at the world. Normally, your focus is on yourself and on your work and the techniques in your work, the skills you have to master. And I'm telling you, the key to success in life is people. We're a social animal. We're like dogs or wolves or whatever, chimpanzees. We're a social animal. And how we interact with people will determine how far we get. You could be brilliant at hacking computers or whatever, but if you're terrible with people, your life is going to be hell. Mm-hmm. So are you motivated to become somebody supremely skilled at understanding and working with people? That's the whole point of the book. You have to buy into that. You have to buy into the fact that you're usually bad at dealing with people. You're not seeing who they are. You're seeing reflections of your own fantasies or projections. You have to admit that you're not good at dealing with people and you need to improve. If you understand that and you want to change and you're motivated to get out of your shell, then you can make that leap. I'm a big advocate of baby steps. You're not going to suddenly transform yourself into Bill Clinton overnight. Right.
Remember thousands of people's names and
or suddenly become a great listener. Mm-hmm. So every day you give yourself little tests. So you have now lunch with this person who you normally find kind of boring. All right, for 10 minutes I'm gonna shut off my internal monologue and I'm gonna force myself to listen to them, and I'm gonna glean some information, some nugget about their character that I never understood before. I'm gonna ask them about their childhood. I'm not gonna be like, it's not gonna be that kind of inquisition where I'm asking them, penetrating questions. But in a relaxed mood, I'm going to find out about something that really motivates them, or something deep, or some traumatic experience they had. You force yourself day by day to take little baby steps in which you try to learn something about people that you didn't know before, and get interested in them and their experiences.
I think a lot of people are asking the wrong questions too. I think you got to start learning to ask different questions.
Like what? What do you mean?
I think a lot of questions are very servicey, and I know you wanted to keep it relaxed as well. You don't need to be like, tell me you're done. It's also, there's ways you can start opening that up, and I think for me, I know if I want to get the most out of someone, I have to give the most myself. I have to start with vulnerability or opening up in certain ways. I can't just expect someone else to open up if I don't. But I think certain questions, like if you're meeting someone for the first time, as opposed to what do you do or where do you work, it's what are you most excited about right now?
Yeah.
Or what's something you've been having a challenge with in your life?
Well, the thing I tell people to look for, because I'm a very big believer in nonverbal communication, in the course of a conversation, if you keep it kind of open and flowing, people's eyes will light up when a certain topic is mentioned. It could be their children, it could be their work, it could be their parent, it could be something in their life that their whole body language changes. They relax. I know if you suddenly asked me about the Los Angeles Lakers, I would be excited. I would be very excited, because that's one of my deep passions in life is basketball and the Lakers.
Yeah. But well, you got my hometown guy, LeBron James.
Oh, you're from Cleveland.
I'm from Ohio.
Wow.
I'm from Ohio, but
How do you feel about this?
I feel bittersweet because I wish he stayed in Cleveland.
Oh, you did?
I wanted to win one more there, but I live in LA now, so it's nice that he's here at least, and that I could go to some games and watch him.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I didn't get to go watch games in Cleveland. So
that's right.
So I'm like, if he's gonna go anywhere, this is the place to be.
Yeah. That's right. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never used to like LeBron, but now I love him.
But now you love him. He's the greatest player in the world. Yeah.
He is, for sure. Wow.
So you light up about that. Look at you. You're getting excited talking about it.
You can see it. If somebody inadvertently brought that up, they could see like, God, oh, wow, man, I could talk for hours about the Lakers, But everybody has a topic like that. It could be something a little more intellectual and more interesting than sports. But look for, you're not paying attention to people's body language is another thing. So as an observer, as a good listener, you're not just hearing their words. You're looking at their eyes, their facial expressions. I have a chapter on that. How to differentiate between the fake smile and the genuine smile.
Wow.
And it's very real. A real smile lights up the whole face. It alters how the eyes look. You want to see when you've hit something like that, or when you've done the opposite and you get that kind of scowling micro expression of, oh, fuck you. Right? But people aren't observant. They're in their own shell. They're not seeing. People are constantly giving out signs of their likes, their aversions, their values, and you're missing them because you're not paying attention.
Is it because we're too obsessed with how we look or what other people are judging about us? Is that why we're closed off or not observant?
I think it becomes kind of a habit, and that's the main part of it, that we're worried about how we look and how they're judging us. But also part of that habit is, life is difficult in this world, in the modern world. We're absorbing too much information on our phones, etc. And it's very, competitive world out there. So naturally we turn inward. Naturally we're thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about what we need to do, our own anxieties, or they're talking and I'm thinking about, shit, I can't change that appointment tomorrow, kind of thing, because you're thinking about your own problems, etc. And naturally so. But the whole thing is my books are all about getting outside of yourself and finding other people more interesting than yourself in some ways.
Yeah, I'm always doing that.
Yeah, well, you don't need this book.
Yeah, I know, this is great though. I think for me, I do need this book because there's always another level of like, what am I missing? What am I not seeing? And how can I get to where I want to be faster? You talk about infect people with the proper mood.
Yeah.
What does that mean, and how do we do this?
Well, this is a key to influence and persuasion. I'm trying to make the case in this book about human nature that we are animals, that we have an animal side to our nature that you have to understand. And we are extremely vulnerable to the emotions and moods of other people. I trace that back to how we evolved as primates, and the need our ancestors had for understanding the moods of the people in the group or the tribe before language was invented. So we're extremely vulnerable to the moods and attitudes of other people. If someone visits us and they're in a depressed mood, it will tend to lower our energy. We've all had the experience. Think of it yourself. You go through life and you encounter 10 different people, and there's always one in those 10 people that kind of makes you feel happy.
Yeah.
The moment you meet them, an old friend or whomever, wow, you're smiling, you're laughing, your mood changes. Right. And there's 1 in 10 that every time you meet them, they feel like, man.
Your mood changes in the bad way.
Bad way. Well, it's because you're feeling something. It's not just the fact that you're a friend. There's something nonverbal going on. Our moods are extremely contagious. And so you can persuade people more through you infecting them with your mood than through your words.
It's true.
Words are not necessarily the best means of influence.
Energy. The way you show up.
Attitude.
It's like if there's a negative room or people having a negative conversation, there's 10 people, and someone enters it with a positive energy and just starts connecting with each person, you see the mood lift in a positive way.
Right.
But it could also be if everyone's having a good time and one person comes in and it's like just being negative and taking everyone down and saying stupid stuff, you're like...
We've all been through that.
Then everyone's mood goes down. Again, goes back to life is an enrollment game. You're either enrolling people in the way you want to show up or they're enrolling you in that energy.
Well, so this should be like a really exciting concept to you, the reader. Yeah. Because what it means is you can alter people by how you approach them with your energy.
Absolutely.
Right? So, I mean, I wrote about that a lot in The Art of Seduction. Errol Flynn was probably the greatest seducer that ever lived. If we counted the number of women he slept with, it's close to 3,000.
Wow.
And he died when he was 50. So if you do the math, it's pretty insane.
Wow.
He was an unbelievable seducer. And I researched this as deeply as I could. Why? And women would write memoirs about it, and they would mention their experience. And they said, being around Errol Flynn was like having drunk 3 martinis. He was so relaxed and so comfortable with himself. He had a kind of animal spirit where he was just really himself and very comfortable, very open, that being around him, you felt all of your resistance and all your defenses just melting away. There were other great seducers, like Duke Ellington was like that. So on the level of seduction and male or female, how you approach them, your mood, more than what you say about yourself and your own insecurities, will have a much greater impact.
More than the pickup lines or whatever, it's the energy.
I believe so.
The confidence.
A relaxed, undefensive quality will go very far. I remember.
How did he die?
Alcohol.
Wow.
He was a major alcoholic. He drank himself to death.
He probably was unfulfilled.
Huh?
He was probably unfulfilled.
Well, yeah, chasing 3,000 women. It could be it gets kind of soulless after a while.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He was a very interesting character. But I remember I was in Paris when I was 21. I was living there. I was working in a hotel. And there was a man was a hotel where all the models stayed. And there was this Brazilian man who was obsessed with all the models in the hotel, and he was the greatest seducer I've ever seen in my life. And one day I was walking down the street with him and some other friends, and this other woman came running up. She realized he was a seducer and had not been honest and was cheating on her. And I will never forget how he responded. He was so relaxed and so undefensive about it, and he didn't apologize. He was just, this is who I am, more or less in his body language. Mm-hmm. And she completely relaxed and changed, and I thought, God, normally it would have been this yelling match, and he completely diffused it with his sort of relaxed attitude, So it's a whole language that you need to master, is how your moods infect other people. And I tell people, experiment with that.
Yeah.
Normally with this one person, you're locked in a dynamic where you always are kind of reacting the same way. Try next time approaching them with a completely different mood. Think something differently about them. Suddenly force yourself to think that this person is really, really like good looking and exciting and seductive. And you'll see that you're thinking of them in a certain way will change how they respond to you.
Wow. As opposed to being defensive and guarded and reactive and angry.
Judgmental.
Yeah. And you said you do not judge other people, you accept them as they are.
Well, that's a key throughout the whole book.
You're not going to influence people if you're judging them, right?
That's the key through the whole book. The book starts with a quote from Schopenhauer, meaning that if you come across people who are bad, just think of them as toxic. Just think of them as a sort kind of mineral that you're encountering. That you're a scientist. People are all different. You're not going to change them. They are who they are because of their circumstances. And instead of judging everyone, learn to accept them and to kind of understand that you are fatal, you are flawed, and so are they. So kind of get rid of your superiority.
Yeah, because that's not going to influence them. If you're trying to persuade them to do something, judging them and making them wrong is only going to make people more defensive, right?
Well, that's true, but the other point is your sense of superiority is usually not justified. Mm-hmm. I'm making the point in this book, the number one thing about human nature is that we tend to deny that there is such a thing. I'm not aggressive. I'm not narcissistic. I never feel envy. I don't have a bad side to me. It's the other people, right?
Sure.
Right. I don't have any of these bad qualities.
Wrong. We all do that.
We all, yeah. You have these qualities as well as anyone else. If you can be honest with yourself, you'll be a little more humble and realize you're not so perfect and not superior, which will make you less judgmental about other people.
If you're looking for more greatness in your life, make sure to check out this video right here. And also check out our free PDF, The 3 Secrets to Unlock the Power of Your Mind to help you change your life. Download it right here.
Don't accept what you see with your eyes. Look for something deeper. What is the meaning behind this? If you're planning a strategy or making a big decision in your life, what is it that you're not considering?